Stanisław Barszczak. With the cross of Jesus, everything has become new. Easter 2022. Dear brothers and sisters, today I only speak one language, and that is not my own language, because it's a gift from God for Jesus' resurrection Sunday, I believe. Everything has been fulfilled on the cross by Jesus. And with this gift, I associate a certain blessing for the Poland of my homeland. For half of my life, I write down a bit of the spiritual and at the same time very human potential of history. What cannot be said in the first place cannot be left unsaid but written, I believe. I dream of having a pen that would be a syringe and finally ended the era of the coronavirus pandemic. The century with which we opened the third millennium of the Christian calendar symbolizes only one century in human history, but I would say it has come off its hinge. Everything from time to time seemed vague, unfair, mismatched. On the cross, Jesus said, "It is finished," and he gave up the ghost. The world is going very badly, floating and growing by itself, but I am only pretending to be an expert in the world of human history. As a priest, I will say, the history of metaphysics, like the history of the West, is the history of this metaphor and metonymies. It's a matrix. Forgive me for demonstrating so little and for being elliptical to get to my main topic more quickly. It's the definition of being as presence in all the sense of the word. The poet is a man of metaphor, while the philosopher is only interested in the truth of the meaning, beyond even signs and names, and the sophist manipulates empty signs. The poet plays on a multitude of meanings. God is also at odds with himself today, I ponder. Though even monsters cannot be announced, it is impossible to say, "Here are our monsters," without immediately turning the monsters into pets. I believe it's good that there is opposition. In the classical philosophical opposition, we are not dealing with a certain vis-à-vis peaceful coexistence, but with a violent hierarchy. One of the members rules the other, axiological, logical. It takes a higher place. In the imagination, the existence of the word is not assumed. What exists is not an imaginary sound of a word or an imaginary inscription, but an imaginary representation of it. For example, psychoanalysis has taught that the dead, for example, a dead parent, mother or father, can be more alive, more powerful, more terrifying than alive to us. It's about ghosts. Nobody gets angry with math or physics that they don't understand at all, or with someone who speaks a foreign language, but rather with someone who manipulates your language with the relationship that is yours. Meanwhile, someone gets angry with whoever plays with your relationship. The time is over. Now the world is going badly. What awaits us? Finiteness of the sphere of the universe? Infinity of the saddle of the universe? Or an exact flattened universe? Nab Gib, letting go. This may be at the end of the universe. Nothing will touch anyone and nothing anymore. It will not move eternally. Or another possibility, to use gravity, a very positive thing, to successfully hunt dark energy, which is still subject to 70% of the universe now. In German, ein großer Ausbruch, big rip, great eruption, great tear at the end of the universe. It is warm, but its wear does not count anymore. old age or youth. It doesn't count that much anymore. The world is more than 1 century old. We lack a measure at this time. We are no longer aware of the wear and tear of the world. We no longer consider it as one epoch in the progress of history. Now, neither maturation, no crisis, no even agony. Something else. What happens ages but itself, striking the teleological order of history. What comes where it shows up, happens with time, but not time in time. Controversies. The time is over. There is nothing but text. Somebody said, today Jesus' sacrifice would be interpreted as a crime, I believe, but atheists bored me because they always talk only about God. And I want to write about to you, the first matrons and citizens of the human earth. Don't worry, I will love you and spare you the horrible things these school friends tell about. Things to happen on your wedding nights. Do not believe the promptings of these fools. We'll laugh when it's time, of course, I promise. But you'll have to wait a few weeks, a month at most, until I can buy a bouquet of the flowers, hire a taxi and drive up to your house. We'll travel, watch the world. You will give me many opportunities to talk to people. You'll never know I am working. I will spare you male sweat, muscular, uniform gravity. Everything is easy for me because I studied. I studied a little, paid for sweet in advance. I'm not an artist, but under no illusions, I will not be able to offer you neither fake nor real demons. We will not do in the kitchen inside what the girls tell you in the horror movies, but outside you will see the sky above you. Leaves or grass will fall on your face. You will smell the fall evening, and you will not feel that you are participating in some disgusting gymnastic which you are obligated to do. You will feel the autumn grass. We will lie down on the sand, on the river bank, among the willow bushes, just above the trail of the flood. We'll see glass stalks, corks, cans, shoe polish and rosary that has fallen overboard to a sailor's wife, and a letter in a lemonade bottle. Bitter smoke in the air from chimneys, shipbuilding, rattling anchor chains. We are not gonna make in the damn serious all day. Of course, it's serious and bloody. But remember, you are not allowed to start anything, not even a war, because even the devil cannot have such sharp eyes as his neighbors. Through the barred windows of his individuality, he stares at the wall endlessly and stares straight into the eyes of death until it calls him home to freedom. Individuality. What is there and what is supposed to be and what will be touched, grey, inadequate and boring, but what is also absent, what is impossible to have, and what is precisely looked at with longing jealousy that turns into love. Individuality is afraid of becoming a party hate, but you mustn't cross anything out, because good things always come too late. You always end up too late when you can't really enjoy it anymore. Man then should not allow death to dominate his thoughts, for the sake of goodness and love. And I will tell you more than enough that I carry the grain, the potential of all aspirations in the world. Where would I be if I were not here? Who How could I be if I were not in myself, if my appearance was not familiar to me and did not separate my awareness from everyone else, that they are not me, potential, organized, blind, mindless, regrettable eruption of urgent will? Better indeed, it would be better to weave freely in the endless and timeless night than to wander in a dimly enlightened dungeon and gaze at the swaying little flame of intellect. In the meantime, rest, be patent, disciplined, measure on, eat, lie down, wait, and drink tea. Because happiness does not mean being loved. It is satisfaction mixed with the loading of vanity. The poet said, happiness is in living and perhaps in catching small, deceptive approaches to a loved object. Spring has started and it is ending soon. But the risen Jesus is with us. For man loves and respects man until he is able to judge him. Though learning is the product of imperfect knowledge, Asia is eating us up. Now, everywhere you look, the faces of taters, I sometimes believe. Freedom exists, and there is also a will, but freedom of the will does not exist, because the will that leads to its freedom means nothing, I suppose. Unfortunately, everything is politic today. There is no more spiritual purity. Suggestion is only excited when he doesn't feel confident in his resistance. It's weird. If a thought dominates you, you will find it everywhere, even smell it in the wind, and everyone will be able to come home. Politics is a habit. This rope that we weave a thread every day, and then we can't break it anymore. I tell the reader here, for you must know that we poets cannot walk the path of beauty without making ourselves a guide. Yes, we can be heroes in our own way and pure warriors. We are like women because passion is our exaltation, and love must remain our longing. This is our joy and shame. I ponder. A writer is someone for whom writing is more difficult than it is for other people. The school did not have a decisive influence on my development. The school instinctively sensed my special abilities, but found them persistently unhelpful and dismissed them. The teacher accidentally, not me, but another student, threatened with the words, "I will spoil your career." Certainly, Pilate, speaking, destroyed Jesus' career, but he, Christ the priest of priests, offered himself as a sacrifice for the sins of all people. He did this through his passion and death on the cross. On Golgotha, he said, it is finished. Then on Easter, he rose from the dead, passed from death to life. At death, the soul separates from the body, and at the time of resurrection, it reunites with it. Only God can perform such a miracle because he is the Lord of life and death. Jesus' resurrection gives us hope that he will also revive our bodies someday, just as he announced. My time is running out. It's time to send Christmas Easter greetings to my readers. The sugar lamp has golden horns. It guards the Easter eggs on the cress meadow, and when no one is watching, he beats the flag and hears softly, "Holy Hallelujah, let us convert, let us not waste our lives." The Word became flesh. The incarnation no longer allows people to decide who God is. Impossible to imagine by any other being in the world, such as before Abraham was, I am, or whoever saw me saw the Father. What ends? Meanwhile, Søren Kierkegaard believed that human life was only wasted when man has never realized that there is a God and that his I stands before this God. Let us think how much more absurd evil becomes when there is no faith in the final triumph of truth and goodness. We have to celebrate the Jesus resurrection. Is a promise and guarantee that his triumph will take place. If I had the courage of the Apostle Paul, continued the papal preacher Cardinal Raniero Cantalamessa, I would ask you, like him, reconcile with God. Oh, reconcile. Do not leave this world as Pilate did from the Praetorium without answering the question, what is the truth? It's too important. The point is now if we have lived for something or in vain. Our love can be cooled by the spectacle of the weaknesses and sins of the Church and her servant. Therefore, cry for Jesus, for those who must suffer from us. Somebody said, the order of this world can change overnight. Everything passes. This is what the war in Ukraine teaches us. There is only one way to escape the inexorable time, to turn to the one who lasts forever. Let us turn to him who lasts forever. Let us turn to him with the heart before we pass to him in the body. Someday we will resurrect like Jesus. We believe that our bodies will be fully up to date with our last dreams and desires. And now for this Easter, dear brothers and sisters, I wish you warmth of home, love of your neighbor, delicious cake and peace of mind. The weather, sun, joy, lots of visitors on Sunday, lots of water on Monday. It's for health and beauty. Written eggs, willow pies, holy sausage, a lot of horseradish for her sugar-coated baby, braided puppet, resurrection in the soul and spring up to the ears. And this extraordinary time, I wish that Easter would awaken your dormant dreams, and the time spent with your loved ones would be filled with faith, love, and hope.